So good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us, the Hanlon Real Estate Team, tonight for our second live market update event. The purpose of these events is to really bring accurate information to you about what's happening in the real estate market. Our job is to really over communicate to you what's going on. I know there's a lot of information in the media. Can't always rely on the media 100%. You got to take it with a grain of salt. So that's our job tonight, is to bring you accurate, correct information on what is happening. I'm Trina, I'm your host and narrator tonight, and we are also joined by our other team members, Shirley, Sean, Peter, Andrew, and Lisa. Give a wave, guys. Good. We hope that all of you have been staying healthy and occupied during the past 2 months. I really can't believe it's actually been going on this long, and it's been like several months since we've all been in our offices, in our training events, in different entertainment and athletic venues. I know I was watching like the NFL draft a few weeks ago, and I got my fingers crossed that I'm going to be able to attend an NFL game this season. So anyways, here's hoping. So tonight, Sean is going to be giving us an update on what is happening in the overall real estate market. And in addition, he will be covering what's going on close to home here in Erin Mills. And then we're going to have Peter bringing us information on activity in the central Erin Mills neighborhood. And feel free to send us in any questions that come to mind for any of our presenters. And if everybody could kind of mute their audio for the presentation, unless you did want to speak up and ask a question, that would be great. That way we can focus on what's being said. So, and again, at any time, should you have a question that might be a bit more personal in nature to your personal circumstance, you can always feel free to reach out to us at 905-271-5141, and we'd be happy to chat. So the seminar tonight is actually recorded. It is live on Facebook and on our website, but it is recorded. Feel free to watch it again or even share it with anybody else that might be of interest. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to pass this over to Sean.
Great, thanks, Trina. So we're going to get started. I'm just going to share my screen here with everybody. And so what we're going to sort of start with is we really wanted to do a bit of a behind the scenes look at what's going on behind the amount of sales, the prices that are out there, and really look at sort of what's driving everything. And a great way to look at that is through showings and new listings, offers, that type of thing. So these are numbers provided by our showing service, and it really gives a good sense of what's happened over really the last 90 days in terms of showing activity and how COVID has changed that. So if we look, really kind of the middle of March is sort of when things started to slow down, and this blue trend line is here, day over day showings. As we got to, I would say, about the end of March, early April, we really started to see this trend line slowly come up. And that's about the time where we had seen buyer confidence start to come back a little bit. And, our phones started to ring a little bit as well, which sort of coincided with that. So I think it's just really interesting to see how that trend line is working. So if we go to the next one, this is just the last 30 days. So again, it gives you a more in-depth look as really what's happening week over week, and you can just really see the showing level and showing activity rising week to week. There's obviously day over day variances, and some days have more showings than others, but week over week I think you can really see that trend line there. And then this one here, so this is month over month from the week of May 4th to the 10th versus April 6th to the 12th. So kind of that direct month over month with just looking at a week view, and you can really see how significant it is. We got to the top of probably 4,000 to 4,500 people per day in showings compared to a month ago, which was hovering around that 1,000, 1,200 mark. So it really shows you that buyers are starting to get back out there and look at properties. And then this is just another in-depth look at the month over month. So we can see showings are up 149%, registered offers up 150%, new listings almost 40%, exclusives down a little bit. This isn't something that we really need to worry about as exclusives. you know, sometimes they don't hit the market for 1, 2, 3, 4 months, and then sold's up 72%. So again, really gives you an idea of the increased pace of the market. And then this is showings from, again, this is up to the May 10th, or where these stats are up to. So from that week to the week before, that's sort of a week back-to-back week comparison. You can see that trend line is up as well, the blue one versus the week before, orange. And then just some more week over week numbers, showings up 26%, offer registered, new MLS listings sold, they're all really up. So again, it just kind of gives you a sense of what might be driving the pace of the market. These are not numbers you would really see on the media or through media reports. So I think it is interesting to look at these, and that kind of gives us a sense as well as, you know, we can make predictions in the future based on these trends. So I'm going to throw it to Peter right now, and he's just going to touch on Erin Mills statistics north of the 403.
Thanks, Sean. Actually, just before I get into north of the 403, I'm just going to give you some numbers for Mississauga. So these numbers are based for the month of April, which is provided by the Toronto Real Estate Board. So these numbers are all across Mississauga, just so that when you're hearing the numbers from Central Erin Mills and from Erin Mills south of the 403 from Sean, you can kind of compare about where the market is in comparison to the rest of the city of Mississauga. So condo townhomes, average sale price in the month of April was $630,000 with a 3.6% increase year over year. So a very modest increase year over year. And of course, if we were in a full spring market, maybe we would have seen a little bit more of aggressive market. However, you know, we'll get into that after about where the market's going. Semi-detached homes, 802,661 is the average sale price for the month of April, a 6.0% increase year over year. So again, a modest increase. And detached homes, 1.168041 is the average sale price in all of Mississauga, with a 4.7, just under 5% increase, which is actually a pretty good increase year over year as well. I'm just going to share my screen, and we're going to go to Erin Mills north of the 403. Whoops. Can we all see that? Okay. So the first slide we're going to see here, again, these numbers are reported by the Toronto Real Estate Board. Sold prices last year from March. So all our statistics from Sean and myself are going to be based on April 27th to today's date. We did a 3-week update at that time as well. So last year in that same time period, we see 19 sales with an average sale price of $469,621. And that was for condos in Central Erin Mills, condo apartments. As compared to this year, we've seen obviously less inventory. We've only seen 4 sales in the same time frame, with an average sale price of $488,125, and that is up about 3.9%. So we talked about Mississauga averages. It's pretty close to being the same as what the Mississauga average is with condos currently. Townhomes. This is condo townhomes with maintenance fees. So last year, again, 2019, we saw 14 sales, 647,551, as compared to this year with only 3 sales. An increase in price, $692,963, and a 7% increase for condo townhomes year over year, which is a pretty comfortable increase. We only had 1 sale this year for a freehold, which was an N unit, and it was done up quite nice. So it's kind of skewing the market price of what a freehold townhome is actually worth. This one happened to sell for $840,000, and there was nothing at the same time last year. And if we get into semi-detached homes for 2019, we only had 1 transaction in this time period at $749,500. And then this year, again, we had 1. And again, this property was done up, new kitchens, bathrooms, flooring. So it kind of skews the average price. If we look at what the average price in Mississauga was for semis, it was around $802. This one sold for $910. So you can see that significant increase. If you look at the percentage, it's 21% year over year, but that's not the market average. That's just 1 and 1, so it's not really a fair representation of the market. Detached homes, we saw 10 homes sell last year in this 3-week period. Average sale price of $996,905. As compared with 2020, we're seeing an increase only of 3 sales, but 1.168,200. So that's again an increase of 1.2% year over year, which is a little bit below the average in the rest of Mississauga. However, 3 sales, it's kind of, to make a balance, it's not quite the same. So I'll pass it back to you, Sean. Let me just get rid of the screen here.
Guys, a couple questions have come in, so I'll let you decide who's going to answer. The first one is, as a buyer, I'm looking to get a good deal. Will there be a lot of homes on the market over the next few months that will give me good selection and good pricing? Who would like to answer that one?
I can speak to that a little bit. Really what the opportunity we're seeing right now in the market, if you are looking, is the lack of competition for the most part. If you were looking at the beginning of this year from January to March, odds are you're in a multiple offer situation. Across the board, we're not seeing that as much right now. In terms of in the future, if there will be good opportunities, there may. I mean, there are a lot of mortgage deferrals on the go right now, and if those do come up at the end of the summer and the fall, and people can't continue to pay their mortgage, some of those might come on the market. But again, all I know is the banks, they're really going to do their best to continue to allow people to afford their homes and not have to force them to sell. So we'll see. It's too early to tell what's going to happen 3, 4, 5 months from now, but really the opportunity right now is the low demand. So you can really get out there, take your time, and find that right property for you.
All right, super, Sean. So the other question that came in was from a Patty, and it says, I'm thinking about selling within the next 6 to 12 months. It's a kind of a 2-part question. So she asks, when is the best time to sell? And also, if I'm thinking about waiting till next year, when can I actually get started? Is it too early to get started with the process? So that's a 2-part question. So who'd like to handle that one?
Sure, I can try and get the best answer there, Trina. So the answer to that is it's always a good time to sell. Right now, we are overall, when you look at the overall graphs year over year, from the last 5-10 years, we're at some of the best pricing still in history. So we have seen what's happened with COVID-19. However, pricing overall is still at or near an all-time high. So it's a great time to sell. It's also a great time to get started. Let's just say you're not ready till November or maybe next spring market. Certainly a good time to get us in and have a look, and maybe we can get some things going for your home, staging and other finishing ideas if you need to do anything. So it's certainly not too soon to give us a call. So yeah, reach out to one of us and we can kind of make that personal appointment over the phone or by Zoom like this, just to kind of have a look at your home and get things started.
Perfect.
Okay, that's great. So I'm gonna jump into the stats right now. That looks at everything sort of below the 403 in Erin Mills. So we're gonna start with the condo apartment market. So this is 2019 here. So again, with the same time frame that Peter was dealing with, this is for that in 2019. We had there were 8 condo sales with an average sale price of about $468. Interesting enough, in 2020 in Erin Mills, south of the 403, so again, that doesn't include the condos around Erin Mills Town Center, but anything below there, College Way near South Common Mall, there actually haven't been any condo apartment sales since March 15th, which is what we sort of consider the beginning of the shutdown. So what I did is I just wanted to show you what the available inventory is. There's 8 properties on the market right now with an average list price of about $615. And then if we look down here, the average days on market is about 43 days. So what this sort of tells us is for these actives, if they want to turn to sold, there's going to be some price reductions that will probably be made. Because as you'll see in the other home categories, like there are still sales happening. You saw north of the 403, those condos are still selling. So it probably just has to do with pricing more so than the actual market conditions. The next one we're going to look at are condo towns. So again, this is last year's. 7 sales in that time period at about 652 average sale price. And then if we jump to this year, there are only 2, so a little less volume, which you know, is pretty much on par with what we're seeing. Average sale price a little bit above by about 1.5%. So a slight increase, but again, these are smaller sample sizes. Moving on to semis, again, at this same time last year, there were 3 sales with an average sale price of just under 750. When we jump to this year, 3 sales again with an average sale price of 801. So a pretty good jump of about 7%. And again, that is in line with what Peter was saying, that we're really not below where we are last year. We're either at the same price point or a little bit above on average. And then if we go to detached as well, so this was last year, there were 16 units that sold with an average sale price of about 962. And I think this is really where you see the difference in last year to this year. Inventory's down, only 7 sales, which again is what everyone's telling us, whether you're talking to a realtor or listening to the media. Sales are down, but if you see the average sale price, it is up by about 12.5%. So some good news for the detached market right there. And that really covers all the info for south of the 403. So I'm going to send it back to Trina right now.
So it sounds pretty positive from what I'm hearing, Sean. Is that correct?
Yeah. Again, we are dealing with, you know, they are smaller sample sizes. And like I always say, this is just to give you a sense of what's happening, to see how this relates more specifically to you and your own personal real estate situation. That's when it's best to have a conversation with a real estate professional around that. But yeah, I mean, overall things aren't really that different in terms of prices.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, we'll do another update probably in 2-3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks again, just to give everybody an idea of what's happening from this point in time to then again, correct?
Yep. And I did just want to answer the question that we have in the Zoom chat here from Aileen. So essentially Aileen's question is, CMHC has said they're going to be announcing some rules that will, I guess she put in quotations, save buyers from committing to mortgages that might be a little bit uncertain with what's going on. So yeah, so what CMHC has said is right now the minimum down payment for a property up to $500,000 is 5%, and they've talked about increasing that to 10%. Part of the reason being is, again, we haven't seen a price decrease right now, but there are a lot of major institutions that are predicting price decreases over the next year or 2 years. So what CMHC is doing is they want any buyers who buy to have a little bit more equity, so that if there is a decrease, they're not hurt as much because they do own, you know, more of a stake in that property. We'll see what they do. I mean, the downside about this is that it might make it harder for a first-time buyer to get into the market, because before they might have only had to put down 5%, but if you bring that up to 10%, I mean, we're now doubling the minimum down payment standard, right? So we'll see what it does. We'll see exactly what the rules are that they put into place, but that's sort of what's on the table. And I think there's some positives to it, but some negatives as well.
Also, Sean, just to add to what you said there, when we saw all the new mortgage rules come in 2017 with the stress test, and that really was probably the biggest change we've seen in the real estate market in a long time for mortgage rules and government policy. We did see an adjustment in the market, and we almost have 2 markets now. I'll ask the entire team. We have that kind of mid-range townhouse, semi-small detached, and then we have the big detached, which has been for the last 3 years 2 markets. So if the government does change those policies, it might just expand what that market already is, meaning somebody looking at a semi might only be able to afford a townhouse now, but they can still get into the market. So I think the government's just protecting people being able to pay their mortgages, but may still be able to buy something.
Good, good. Well, if that's all the information, guys, what we'll do is we'll wrap it up, but we'll hang around for another minute or two in case anybody has any last minute questions. Again, we will be doing another update in a few weeks' time, so just watch our Facebook posts for the next update for this. And again, just to reiterate, if you do have any specific questions that relate more personally to you, please give us a call at 905-271-5141 or email us at info@thehanlonteam.com. So we'll wrap it up there. We want to kind of keep it short. We want to respect everybody's time. So again, we'll hang around for another minute or two if there's any last minute questions. But I just wanted to thank everybody on behalf of the team for joining us tonight. And again, stay healthy, and hopefully we can wrap this up sooner than later. So, all right. So have a good night, guys, and we'll talk soon.
And if you do have any last minute questions, you can always put them in either the chat or the comment box on Facebook. And or if you're watching a recording of this, please put them in the comments on the Facebook post as well, and we will get to them as soon as we see them.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean. Okay, so I don't see anything coming in, so I think we're going to wrap it up there. All right, guys. Okay, have a good night. Bye. Stay safe.